Hello, my name is Judy West and I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to take these 3 napkins I got from NinnysNapkins and we're going to convert them into 3 little painted canvases. Now as you can see, this one has the background of snow and cloud, whereas these 2 have plain white backgrounds. So to get them to all look as though they went together, I added snow and the background to these 2 canvases as well as the napkins. So no drawing needed, you just cut out your pictures and add them on. But there's a little bit of painting, but it's very easy painting. So stay with me and I'll show you how to do this. I'd like to add this little penguin to the front of this canvas, and I like that mottledy blue background, so I've painted this white first, and now I'm going to get a little bit of blue. Now the closest blue I could get to that background was actually a Deco Art So Soft fabric paint called True Blue. But you know, you use whatever blue you like, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that blue with that, and I'll just blend it into the background so it's very soft. There's no sharp edges. So now we need to let those 2 dry before the next step. While that's drying, I want to cut out the little penguin, and so I'm just going to first of all just separate him from the other 4 penguins on the paper. Now, the reason I'm wanting to cut the penguin out is because this section is not big enough to cover the whole of this. It only just goes over the edges a little bit. So I decided what I would do is just cut out the penguin, paint the background, and stick him on. I didn't originally start out to do all 3 on this project, but once I did the first one and it looked so cute, I thought, oh, I want something to go with that. So that's how these other 2 are eventuated. This is an activity you could do with your kids or your grandkids, and they could make little pictures for their walls. So any napkin that's got a picture in the middle, you could do a basic background, which is what I've done here, just a basic blue and white background with a few drops of snow. We might look at what other simple backgrounds we could do. in another video to create these little scenes, especially mix and match scenes. Seeing the penguin so cutesy, it probably needs cutesy pictures to go with it, and the robin and the cat and the moose with his stuffed toys are cute. And they're all the same size, so they can go on all the same size canvases. You don't have to cut every little detail either. Sometimes it's just easy to cut over the detail and ignore it. I want to put this on, but I don't want that light blue showing through there, that mottledy blue, and making his face darker there and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to get a pencil and just inside the line of his, where he comes to, just inside, not on the edge, I'm just drawing a pencil line around to show me where he comes to. And I'm going to go over that in white so that there's none of that blue. There's his slight little outline there. You can see that. I'm just going to go over that in white now so that there's no chance that the blue will show through the napkin. To cut off the excess, work out exactly where you want your animal to, your napkin to sit, and then fold. I've still got all the layers on so it's nice and thick. Fold your napkin up so that it matches exactly the edge of the canvas, and then cut along the folded line. There we are. Now there's a little uneven bit there that I'll just trim. There we are. There we are, that's that one. Do the same with this one. Now, as the same as in this one, before we glue these on, we need to put some white behind them, so I'll just hold that in place and again run a pencil line underneath. Now that the white has dried, we take the layers off the back of the napkin, all the layers, so make sure there's only one layer of napkin left. On this one there's 2 white layers and a coloured layer. So and now the napkin's really thin, so you need to be careful once you've wet it that you don't pull it or tear it in any way. Get your napkin in position where you want it to be, and while you hold one side, you put glue on the white section on the other side. Now just make sure that there's enough glue to cover the edges. I just go over that white edge. I don't stay within the confines of the white edge because I want all the edges of the napkin to be glued down. So I want this tacky but smooth. I don't want any ridges in this. And then you can push the napkin down as long as your fingers are dry. Once it's down, you can lift the other side and put glue there. Now that it's all in position and all pushed down, and that is very smooth, because it's such a tiny little thing, this is easy to get this nice and smooth without any wrinkles or anything. Then you just give it another coat over the top, just making sure that there's no way that those edges are going to lift at all. But you always work from the inside out, from the middle out to the edges, not from the edges into the middle. There we are. And I'll just do the same to the other one now. Okay, so now we've got these 3 all done, ready to go, and we'll let that dry and then we'll add the snow. Now that the glue is dry, we can just put the little snowdrops all over this like we did on the other one. Now there's our little pictures all done. They all look now, because of the snow, as though they belong in the same scene. So the background and the snow has helped it to make it look like it's all in the same scene. The other thing is, because the snow is raised spots and it goes over the top of those pictures, it makes that look two-dimensional, as though the snow's in the foreground. Now, because the paper is stuck on top of the background, you can actually see that it's further forward, and then therefore it looks like the background is further back than just a flat sheet of canvas. So this is an optical illusion way of giving depth to your picture, but also by doing the same background and the same snow on each one, it makes it look like all these, even though they're not exactly the same colour, but they are the same size and they are all Christmas theme. So therefore the snow and the background has bound those together as though they all look like they are part of the same scene. And it gives me a bigger area of wall space to put something up, and so if you're walking past, you're more likely to notice 3 than just one little one on its own. Plus it gives you a lot more interesting things to look at. So the only thing left to do now is to varnish it once it's dry. Now you can do varnish in a couple of different ways. You can just seal it with the same thing, the same glue as you used to stick it on with, and you could just give it a clear seal. And if it's going to sit on a wall that's not going to get direct sunlight on it, and you don't want it super shiny finish or a gloss finish, then that would be the way to go. But if you wanted a gloss finish or a satin finish and it was going to get sunlight on it, then I would go to a sealer that protects from the sun and also gives a shinier or a glossier finish than this Mod Podge does. So, and that's purely up to you. Okay, I'm going to give it a glossy finish, and I'm going to use a sealer that protects it from sunlight fading, because I don't know where it's going to get hung. And so I'm just a little added protection. Direct sunlight will make anything fade over time. The sealer will just give it a little bit extra protection for a little bit longer, that's all. But you know that if you sit something in the sunlight for a long period of time, it's going to fade. You're not going to protect it. Now that they're dry, I'm going to put some sealer on it, and I want a gloss finish. So I've chosen Liquitex Acrylic Medium Gloss Varnish. And it also, somewhere here it says, non-yellowing, water resistant when dry, and protects from UV damage. So they're the things you sort of look for when you're looking for a varnish. And I'm just going to seal the top. And I'll seal the sides, but it'll have a shiny finish, this, because it's gloss. And you can decide how many coats you want to put on. I've probably put on a couple of coats just to protect it properly. I probably really should be using a much larger brush than this, because we're seeing all the little brush strokes. I'll bring it down that way as well. Get rid of some of the thick lines. That's better. You can't see it, but I can see whether there's lines through it or not. And then we'll just go to each of the sides and do the same. So I'll just quickly do all of these now. Just remember too that if you want any of these lovely napkins, you can have a look down below. There's a discount code for Ninny's Napkins. Got all 3 from Ninny's Napkins. And the discount code will allow you discount on your first order. So there's also a link to Ninny's Napkins there, and through the video I've had the names of these particular napkins up so that you can you know, find the right one quite quickly. I'm just going to give you a close-up now of not only the original napkins but the final finished canvas, just so you can see the difference in each. Here's the moose, and as you can see by him, He's got a completely white background to start with, and now I've actually gone and added background and snow to make him look more like the little penguin napkin. I've done the same with the cat. I've completely cut off all that red border and all the background, because the cat background is completely white. So I've cut the cat out, as you can see, and I've also added the snow and the background to that cat as well, or that canvas as well. And you can see the dots over the top, they're quite raised, so it looks like the cat's sitting behind that snow that's falling in front of it. This is the first one I did, and it had a background already there, but it wouldn't fit right down the sides of the canvas, and so I decided to paint the background in and just cut the little penguin out. Now notice, seeing that I've cut him out, how much more pronounced he looks against that background. He looks like he's standing in front of the background, whereas on the napkin he looks more like he's blending in. So I've actually painted that background in as well, and I've put the spots over the top of the spots that were already there so that they're raised, so he looks like he's sitting behind those snowflakes falling in front of him. And that's what gave me the idea for the other two, because on his own he was just, I'll just show you, just on his own he's only little. He's very tiny. Look, there's my hand. That's how little he is. So he's not going to make a big statement on the wall. But when you add that one and that one, much bigger statement, much more interesting things to look at. The hardest part is deciding in which order you're going to put them, whether you like it that way or that way, or that way. If you think you know which one looks best, just put it in the comments below and let me see what you've got to say about it. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this video today, please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the little bell to be notified of my new videos.